What it really takes to create the life that you want. I talk about this and more with Master Certified Coach Kat Williford on this episode of the Super Boomer Lifestyle Show. Hello everyone, this is Caren Glasser. I am your live stream host and welcome to the Super Boomer Lifestyle Show. This is the show that will enhance your lifestyle, health, empowerment, and more. I am so happy that you decided to join us today. We have a great show for you. If you're here live, make sure you comment because we are going to put your comments up on the screen and we'll come back after the show and reply. If you're here on replay, just as good. Make sure that you tell us you're on replay so that we can comment. And of course, as we say every single week, share, share, share. We would love to have you share this with your network. So today we're tackling the question, what is it really like to create the life that you want? And today's special guest is Kat Williford. She is a pioneer in the coaching industry. She is a certified coach, and she's actually one of the very first certified coaches in the United States. And she believes in the power of saying yes to the opportunity and stretching that into whatever yes calls forth. I'm very excited to welcome Kat Williford to the show today as we tackle this question and so much more. Hello, Kat. How are you?
I'm great, Caren. It is so good to be here with you. Thank you. And how much do I love the and so much more? That's so great.
Well, because we end up talking about a topic and then we go off on a tangent, and I don't like being stuck into something that we can't get out of. So the and more is probably the most important part of the show. I would agree. So I like to start the show with, and this particular show is, what is a super boomer? Because it's the Super Boomer Lifestyle Show.
Yes.
Now, my definition of a super boomer is that we are not defined by age. We are defined by how we show up in life. Kat, how would you define a super boomer?
I love that. I love the way you're holding this and presenting it. I guess what I might add or spin around in my words would be something like a super boomer is someone who is up to something, for themselves, for the world, and for progress, whatever that might mean to an individual, certainly. Yet I hold it as big, like progress as humanity, progress as in consciousness. And because if you think about the super boomers, many came in age in the 60s, me in the 70s, but there was that whole time, that whole era where walls were clattering to the floor of boxes. So boxes were being broken free. And I believe that's what we're doing now. We built some other boxes up around us, and then we said, screw that. We got all of these.
We definitely did. And that's kind of why I like the topic that we're covering today, that we really can create the life that we want, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so we're going to talk about how that actually works and how we can create the life we want. But I know that you are an authenticity coach and you talk about being authentic, and that's a favorite word of mine, and it's the favorite way that I like to show up. We were talking about how I show up on the show sometimes my head disappears into the wall. Sometimes I stumble all over my words, but the thought here is that I just show up as I really am. Let's talk about authenticity. What does that mean in our world today?
So I think you hit the nail on the head. We show up as we are, right? Now, that doesn't mean we can't. I wear lipstick, I wear makeup. It's not that we can't actually, we can't, it's not that we don't enhance maybe what we've got, but to me, authenticity is about the core of us. Are we being true to our core personal values? Are we in alignment with really who we are? Because what happens if we're not there? We're playing the imposter syndrome game, and we will always we'll be like a dog chasing our tail. We will not be going forward. So for me, authenticity is the way we actually can move forward. We stop running in circles around ourselves. We stop chasing that tail.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. So can we create the life we want? And when we say that, is this like we have a task list? Do we, decide that we're going to go do this first and then this first? What does that mean when we say we can create the life that we want?
I think this is really why people come to coaching. This is what I work with people every day around this conversation. And here's what I've come to know in 25 years of coaching people is that the answer is yes, of course we can. What happens for people and why they don't feel like they are living it is they're not current with themselves. So part of the, we used to talk about don't lean your ladder against the wrong wall and climb that ladder. Right. And it's the same thing here in our personal journey. We have to stay fresh and current with ourselves and not let old goals penetrate our brain and try and keep us where we are. Like I'm 54. My goals are different than when I was 34. If I were still carting those around, I would be one miserable person.
I was going to say, and thank goodness, right?
And thank goodness, right? I don't want to be 34 again. Honestly, 44, maybe not. But we have to be current with where we are. And that to me is step number one in order to develop living into the life you want.
So true. So tip number one is get current with yourself, right? Just get current with yourself and take, it's a time to declutter your mind and your soul each day. One of the things that I do is every morning I meditate. Yes. And I do Miracle Morning. That's one of the things that I do. I get very clear. I get very current about who I am and what I'm doing. What are some other ways that we might get current with ourselves?
That's great. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see in the back, well, maybe a little bit on the background there. I have a vision board.
I see it. I just made you on big screen. We can see it.
So I have a vision board. It's kind of a mess right now, and but I love doing it on a bulletin board because I've got push pins. I can move things around. I can, sometimes people are afraid to glue things down onto paper because I might change my mind. Well, you might. You might get more current with yourself. So I also believe in keeping it sparse. Like, let's keep it simple, and pick one thing at a time to focus on. That doesn't mean the other aspects of your life don't matter, but we want to keep things really simple. And I spend a lot of time coaching people of kind of decluttering, if you will, the space of what they want. Decluttering the old thinking and old belief patterns. So we need to declutter our minds. We need to declutter our thinking. We need to declutter our bodies. We need to
I love that.
Our soul.
So tip number 2 is keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple when you are looking to change things. Don't try and change everything at once. And how many of us do that? I mean, I used to do it. I was like, oh, well, if one thing needs to change in my life, well, so does this, and so does this, and so does this. Right. And all of a sudden I'm like, I can't do anything.
I get it. And then we're paralyzed, right? And then we're actually paralyzed. We can't move off the dime. And that's a challenge for a lot of us, right?
Absolutely. And what keeps us there are those masks that we wear, right? So my chief operating officer of control thinks I can take on more and more and more and more and just keep controlling it all and making it all happen. And you know what? She can. She's really good at it, but the cost is too significant. So that's part of keeping it simple. We don't want to exhaust ourselves so that we can't enjoy the life that we want to be living. And more than, and this is just a side tip to this, more than what you want it to look like, let's back it up a step. What do you want it to feel like?
And that, because we use all of our senses, right?
That's
right. We want to feel it. I would like to ask a question, those of you who are on live or if you're on replay, how many of you, when you experience something, don't just experience the words and what's in your head, but you feel it in your body? Make a comment down there. Just let us know, because I know personally, we were talking about this before the show. I feel everything in my body, everything, good and bad.
That's right.
So what do we do when we do that?
Yeah. So if we're checking in, and we can feel it in our body, but we want to find out, what is the experience that I really want to be having here? Because sometimes in working with clients, what they have discovered and what I have discovered in my own life is we think it's the external things that we want to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that saying, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
So there's what is the internal experience you want to be having that's different than what you're having now? And about 3 years ago, I determined I was really tired of running and chasing and striving. Like, I used to get off on that. I was like, oh yeah, let's set that goal way out there, and I'm going to run really fast. And I had this epiphany moment when I was literally running on the beach. And I was like, okay, I'm going to run from the jetty to the pier. I got to the pier. I'm like, that wasn't far enough. I can go further. And I ran like 20 more yards and went, Kat, you just obliterated the fact that that was your goal and you made it. Right?
Yeah.
So that constant push. So I started invoking every morning, and I'm a big fan of setting our intention of what we want to experience every day. And what kept coming up for me when I was doing this was ease, flow, spaciousness.
Yep.
And so I can have that in a crazy airport situation. I can have that here on this show. I can have that sitting on my couch. I can have that driving on the freeway when you
can. So you talk about masks, and I've been to one of your events, and for those who care to know, actually, Kat is my coach. I work with Kat. I love her. I highly recommend her. And one of her things that she talks about are the masks that we wear, right? So one of the tips that you were sharing is that we have to unmask ourselves. How do we do that? Oof.
Yeah. So again, it's like getting current, right? So the masks live very far in the future to prevent a problem. They live very far in the future, in the past, protecting us from a similar situation. So masks protect our vulnerability. Masks protect us a lot of times from feeling what is happening in the moment. So they develop because we need a little safety. It's not bad that we have them. In fact, I think our psyche is really brilliant to develop them because they get us through something.
Right.
Maybe we've got to push through something. Maybe we need to really be defended and guarded against a certain thing. It just becomes a problem when they're habitual.
Good point. Very good point. You know, I'm really excited for you because just yesterday you launched your new live Facebook show. And it's called The Heroine's Journey.
Yes.
And it's live on Facebook. I saw the show. I really loved it. Tell us a little bit about the show and what people are going to glean and what they're going to get out of this and how often it is and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, great. We'd love to. So I really created this based on, as I'm writing my book, I realized in looking at the experience that I'm chronicling, I had an ovarian diagnosis. I chose not to go the traditional route and I healed it. Part of my healing journey was I had to reclaim who I am. I had to reclaim my body's wisdom. I had to reclaim being in relationship with my body. And so what it taught me was a heroine's journey is different than the hero's journey. And I believe we women and men who want to adopt and really integrate their feminine energy, this is a very helpful piece for them. We have to pay attention inside first in order to start shifting those outer layers. And so we each have a unique journey. And that's what I want the conversation to be about. The unique journey that each one of us takes in order to heal and grow and then effect change in our world.
Well, I really encourage people to actually join the show. It's every other Tuesday, right? And it's at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I put an image up on the screen. I also put a link in the comments that you can click on that will take you over to the first show, which was yesterday. So you get a taste of it. And I encourage you to do that. I know that, Kat, you're asking for people if they have questions that you want those questions. So go listen to the show, put your questions, because I know that Kat will probably incorporate them in a future show, right?
I absolutely will. And future show, this one is really, I was doing a lot of philosophy and just sharing like the overall umbrella and come from around this so we can all be on the same page with it. But then each show, I'm going to dive into a specific thing, like, your journey with your body, your journey in relationships, your journey through your career, your journey in relationship to money. So it's really a holistic look at how we integrate and actually operate in our lives. So it is a journey, and just like any journey we go on, we learn something. So whether we're traveling far afield and learning something, or we're traveling within, we will learn something.
And I love the whole idea of a journey and traveling. And I wanted to kind of incorporate the two because, we all go on inner journeys and outer journeys. And in the Super Boomer Lifestyle Store, we have some great products and tools that you can use when you go on your journey. One of them is my favorite because I'm such a geek when it comes to technology. I love this gift. This is awesome. I can put all my cords, I can put all my apparatus, my selfie stick, and all my stuff into a little bitty suitcase so that I always have it with me. And for those of you who are wondering, why would you need that? Well, if you ever get on the road and your phone ever dies and you don't have the cord, you're going to know why you need it. So I really, really encourage you to do that as you go on your journey, and check it out in the Super Boomer Lifestyle Store. So, I want to move on because you have a gift for everybody. And
I do.
So I'm putting up the link in the comments, but let's talk a little bit about what this gift is. I have gotten them, and it's an amazing gift because it's not just a one-time thing; it's a continual thing. So why don't you share a little bit about what this gift is?
Sure. So I made a set of a mini MINI set of affirmation cards that are really built to support you to unmask, to be at choice in your life and in your world, and to be vulnerable, to strengthen that vulnerability muscle, to strengthen your ability to be honest with yourself, to be honest with others. And so these are daily cards. You can draw them one a day. And I call they're your self-love focus cards is really what they are, because part of unmasking and becoming vulnerable is discovering self-love. And that's one of my passions for women, particularly because we're really good at loving other people. We kind of suck when it comes to loving ourselves.
We do suck. We put ourselves last most of the time. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Joey is saying, Joey is saying she used the affirmation cards every day, Kat. They are fantastic, as do I. I find myself pulling the cards every so often just if I need some guidance, just if I need something to hold on to.
And what it does is, these came from within me, and these are aspects that are within all of us. And so what it is, when we are in a contemplative question, when we draw a card, it's our inner wisdom speaking to us of what we can focus on right then and there to keep it simple. Again, it's not so much we have grown habituated to the complexity of modern life and the noise of it all. And these are simple ways to focus in, hone in. And that really is, part of unmasking is we don't have to go it alone. The masks make us go it alone. And inviting allies into play is so important. And I think it's so important for we boomers to do this, because we grew up with that, no pain, no gain, do it yourself. You got this. And that's okay, whatever. I'm bored with that already, right? So invite allies, be around fun people that lift you up. And if the people aren't lifting you up, then just stop going to wherever they are.
Amen. A to the men. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's something it's very interesting that people may not know about you, and that is a particular group of people that you have coached and supported. You want to tell us a little bit about this, because it really it goes to who you really are.
Thank you. Yeah. And this was a while ago. So every time I think about it and talk about it, it's like, I might need to start doing this again. But when I first was starting out as a coach, I really wanted to coach as many different kinds of people in different situations. And I was on a board of directors of the Los Angeles Women's Legislative Coalition. We had a spin-off organization, Court Watch, and it was about we graded judges and how they dispensed justice when it came to domestic violence. Because what we found was the women were being brutalized all over again in the court system, particularly family court. So we stepped in and we had a program where I got to coach them.
Wow.
To be prepared and in their center, in their wholeness as they went to court, so that they could speak very clearly and concisely and not let their emotions overtake them. Because, if you're looking at the abuser and he's using your children, you go crazy. You become like a screaming person, like any of us would. So we worked with them and coached them. And my joy was to be able to coach them to know that they could stand on their own with a little help and support.
Oh my gosh.
Did not need that person who
it's so important. And unfortunately, you said this, you did this a while back, and unfortunately we fast forward now to today's time.
Yes.
Nothing's changed.
Well, some of the sentencing has changed.
Good.
And we were a part of actually effecting legislative policy for 2 or 3 things that were big. Like there were all of a sudden mandatory, because what that used to happen in a domestic violence call in California in particular, you'd go out, the police would go to the location and they just kind of, walk the parties around the block and then let them go back at it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it escalated and the woman wound up in the hospital or the morgue.
Ugh.
So what happened is mandatory separation. Off to jail he goes, or her, depending. I mean, there were some cases where the woman was the abuser. So it was, you have to separate, and we legislated that a female officer has to be present.
Wow.
That's actually pretty huge when you consider how it is.
Yeah, it is huge. So I take back what I said. Things have changed, but in this era of Me Too and women's rights and everything that's going on, we need more Cat Willifords that are willing to use their skills and their mindsets in helping these individuals get the help that they need. I know that people always ask us, how do we find out more about our guests? They can go to your website, right? catwilliford.com. They can also visit your Facebook page, Authenticity Advantage Women Series. I've actually been on those calls. These are really great, guys. I'll add it to my Super Boomer moment. I'll hold on to that. And then finally, on Twitter, go tweet Kat, because I bet if you tweet Kat, she's going to tweet you back.
I will.
I bet. Are there any last minute thoughts that you would like to share with our audience? This show is just like sped right by. Anything you'd like to share with our audience that we haven't touched upon, at least to give some thoughts for people to maybe reach out to you?
Yeah, reach out to me, reach out. I guess this is what I want to say. And here's what I love about what you're mentioning about the Me Too movement. And I believe that this is a time when old ways and systems must crumble, including those inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you are crumbling a little inside, I want you to know you're not alone. And I want you to know there are a lot of coaches out there and that specialize in things like I do. And I love to support women who want to rebuild in an authentic way, because what is crumbling away is the inauthenticity, are the masks, are the facades. And we see it globally, and we see it the macro, and we see it the micro, and we experience it.
It's exciting time. This is an exciting time. It's a challenging time. For some, it's a scary time, but this is exciting time. We are at the forefront as super boomers, as women, as coaches, as people that are in this world. We are going to make a difference. I'm passionate about this. We women are going to make a difference. Kat, thank you so much for joining us today. I so appreciate you. I'm going to be dropping you into the green room as I go into my super boomer moment, and we'll go on from there. Again, thank you very, very much. So guys, this is time for the super boomer moment. And this is where I share something that struck a chord for me and with me. You know, I have traveled this road for quite a while. I've been live streaming since the early 90s. I have always been my authentic self. I just show up this way, and whatever comes out is what comes out. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's not such a good thing. And one of the things that I really like about what Kat talks about is the whole idea of how authenticity is showing up in the world today. And in some respects, it's an overused word. I know a lot of people say, I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to do it that way, but it is a feeling, and it is how you internalize it, is how you show up. And I really encourage you to touch base with Kat and find and get the cards. You just have to get the cards, but also maybe to have a conversation and find out, you know, how you can uncover your own authenticity. Go check out her show, The Heroine's Journey. It's awesome. It's a great show. You're going to get so much value, so much content. And finally, go check out the Super Boomer Lifestyle Store, because we have some great tools and products that will help you on your journey, whether you are taking the journey inside with the books or whether you're taking your journey outside as you travel along and around the world. Get some suitcases, get some things that will help you on your travels. We want to thank you for checking us out today, because I know that you have a choice as to where you spend your time, and you chose to spend it with us today. I am eternally grateful. I hope that you join us next week on the next episode of the Super Boomer Lifestyle Show. Have a great day, everyone.